Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is it's 24 frames in a second, so that's kind of how you got to figure it. If you wanted to move 4 times in that second, back and forth, then you just know you got to move it every, six frames, or by frame 6, it's got to be back there. So, and depending on how fast you want it to move, you just move it more. So, if you move it there on frame 3 and there on frame 6, versus here, it's just going to look like it's going faster. So if to me, that's the thing about animation. It's not just about, it's about physics and timing and space relations, but then add to that acting and emoting and comedy and drama. So there's just so much to keep track of. It's like, and I can't even tackle the physics part of it, let alone the I think we were talking about stuff with the actors. And they use their bodies as their tools and their voices and their costumes and all that stuff. But animators have to, whatever the choice is, has to be
that one.
into a puppet, into whether the puppet can do it or not. Like, can the puppet make that face, or can it hold that face over it? Like, it's just interesting to be able to have the instinct to make the right choices, and then the ability to make sort of disembody those choices.
Oops, sorry. Sorry.
It is something I can't wrap my head around. But this is obviously a hugely iconic set for the movie, and we did build 7 of these sets because there was so much of it in the movie that we had to actually make duplicates of it. It's one of my favorites just because it really showcases Victor's personality with every choice of prop that he has in there. So first of all, the first part of the movie where you see him with the film cameras and the projectors and stuff like that, so it really is like his special secret place, and really says a lot about who he is, but then also like the stuff that he pulls together, again, speaks to the era, speaks to the kind of family that he has, and then also just his inventiveness. So I love the little tiny windmill in the back, and the robot that he's made, and just some of the toys that you feel like he had when he was little, and kind of speak to his personality. So it's just kind of a fun little treasure trove of things to look at and kind of things to discover. And the exhibit is great because it actually has all these toggles. So it's fun to see how many things. Where are those reindeer? Last one? No, I missed them. But you can kind of play with them and see how. And again, when lightning strikes and things are going nuts, somebody has to keep track of all of those things. And so not only are they moving them, they're also sort of organizing the lights so that the lights are phasing at the right time. The director of photography works really closely with these, especially with these kind of shots, so that everything is in sync with the camera move and the lights. I mean, I was completely blown away by some of the stuff that just the difference between Nightmare Before Christmas and now, really on a set is the integration of lights. I mean, on Nightmare, I remember if a light blew, we didn't know about it until we saw it in dailies 2 weeks later, and then it was like, oh, I guess that's ruined, we have to start again. I mean, there was no visual effects, there was no sort of security or safety. Here, they have alarms. A little tiny light bulb blows, it sounds like an alarm, and you're like, what? What's going on? Oh, the light bulb. And it's just really just about looking at the 2 frames and seeing what popped. So it's really, those are the kinds of ways that technology has helped. It just helps the process so much that the guys can actually be spending their time animating and not spending their time looking to make sure the lights aren't blown. So it's that's I think a huge improvement that we've been able to enjoy. Some of the cool things here is like every cobweb has to be sort of art directed in, and then also stiffened and made animatable if it's gonna interact with wind or with him. So that's the kind of detail that it's just sort of mind blowing when you have to go, oh my god, that cobweb has got wires in it. Those are actually tiny wires, or that's been stiffened so that it's like rock solid if you touch it. Sweet. Little Sparky. I know. Even though I've seen the movie 100 times, whenever he comes back to life, I am like hysterical. I cry every time.
The lights used by the director of photography were special lights.
There were special lights, yeah.
It's going to be the big thing that you use on a normal set. I mean, if you want to light this, it's smaller. You have to have smaller lights, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes a lot of the practical lights are important in a set. I just think, yeah, it's just trying to get small lights and then lots of little lights. But it's pretty much the same process. It's just smaller. Yeah. But sometimes you go into a set and there will be, you can't see the set because there's so many light stands and like C stands, and it's just outrageous how
how precise they can get with the lights. So yeah, we've been our director of photography did an amazing job, and he's so good. He worked on Corpse Bride and Coraline, and he just really was inventive. Because I mean, for me, I really feel like every sequence looks very, very different. And even with the attics, like we actually had a meeting to say, you're going to be in that attic 10 times. How are you going to make it so that that attic feels fresh, or fresh and familiar at the same time, so that you know you're back to where you needed to be, but that it's not like, oh, we're back in the attic. So I think he did a nice job of kind of shafts of light and sort of morning light and all that stuff. I think we're going to go to